Before we went into the System 5 arena, we were mixing in this room using a big icon decontrol, a dual operator icon. And so at that point, we were literally 100% mixing in the box. Everything that was going on was being done in Pro Tools, which is a perfectly valid way to do everything. It becomes a little more difficult once you want to start scaling beyond a certain number of systems. I mean, the real problem with movies becomes scalability. You get large action movies and you really are cutting, hundreds of tracks worth of guns and ricochets and impacts and stuff breaking and cars crashing and all that stuff. It really starts to add up. So I think scalability was one of the reasons why we started to want to make a move out of a purely in-the-box environment. And also just overall flexibility in terms of having some actual DSP to throw at things. So having the capability to do some of that stuff on the console really makes a big difference. The question becomes, once you start venturing into doing a final mix, you want to take all of that stuff and then mix that again along with a whole bunch of other stuff. At what point does it become easier to then do that by having a console, if you like, a layer of DSP with full EQ and filters and dynamics and compressors, expanders, its own layer of aux sends for more reverbs, its own panning and everything else, literally bolted on top of what you've already been able to do in Pro Tools. Directly in front of you, you've got extremely high quality metering, you've got indications of pan, EQ, dynamics right there, routing and stuff. So on a channel by channel basis, you've got a much better idea of what's actually going on than you do in a purely icon environment. You can do one of the things that's really the holy grail of this type of thing, which is you can literally have this fader belong to one Pro Tools system, this fader belong to a completely different one, this fader be part of the console, and you can just create layouts of how channels are organized on the surface that are completely flexible. You can just take anything from anywhere and put it wherever you want it. Organization is really the key when you're dealing with this many things. It is by far the easiest layout to use. It's the most communicative. No matter what mode you're in, everything's color-coded, so you don't even need to look at what you're looking at. If it's purple, you're looking at an EQ. If it's red, you're looking at input. If it's green, you're looking at an aux, and if it's blue, it's a panner. So like, just from a really straightforward standpoint, you've got this instant visual communication. Everything's touch sensitive, everything can be automated, everything can change. You just have an immense amount of visual feedback. Ergonomically, it's the easiest thing in the world to use. I love the fact that I've got a constant top line. There's nothing in between. I don't have monitors sticking up. In certain situations, that doesn't make the blindest bit of difference. In other situations, when you're really supposed to be focusing on the movie, you don't really want to have very much stuff in between you and the movie. In this particular configuration right now, we have 24 faders in the dialogue section and 16 in the effects section. Also, this is really a true dual layer environment. So every fader also has a corresponding swap fader. So for every fader that's on the console, there's actually really 2 channels worth of assignment in existence, which basically gives you direct and quick access to a lot more channels from this. So for 16 faders, you're really looking at 32 channels worth of stuff. For 24, you're looking at 48. So 24 is kind of the sweet spot in terms of faders, and because you also have the secondary layer, that really means you're easily addressing 48 channels worth of stuff at a shot. And then of course you can just change to a different layout and everything reconfigures and you're looking at a different 48 channels. These days, it's not about how many faders you have, it's about how many channels those faders can control. And instead of us wanting to physically move, we just want to be couch potatoes. We want to sit in one place and we're going to bring the stuff to us. Obviously that level of flexibility exists in this environment more than any other. All of this stuff is completely customizable. So you can buy this and you can basically turn it into anything you want. From a business standpoint, really factors into some of the decision making, because one of the things you never want to be is really feeling like you're constrained, and that if a client walks in the door and is like, I'm going to give you this project, but you need to make me capable of doing this, this, and this. But it's nice to know that you have that level of expandability. Also, we have full compatibility with all of the large System 5 installations out there in town. There are 100 little things that added up together start to make a really big difference.